was amazing. I didn't know any of the words, what they meant, but I could feel the joy coming through that. Can I get a witness? Yes. Yeah. Tonight, Kevin and I get to go watch our granddaughters. It's their parents' 7th anniversary, so we volunteered to go watch them, and I'm so excited that they're living here in Colorado, that they live in Littleton, which is a little drive, but it's okay. We get to witness them growing up, and we get to witness all the joys and the wonders and all the ups and downs that you have with a 3 and a 5-year-old when they're learning about life. We get to witness. So what is that word witness? What comes to you when you hear that word witness? For me, I knew I wanted to give a talk on witness, and right away a song popped into my head, and it's Some Kind of Wonderful by Grand Funk Railroad. And they say several times, can I get a witness? You know, can I get a witness? Can I get a witness? And so I had to look up, can I get a witness? What does that mean? I didn't even know what it meant, really. And looked it up, and usually it's used in revival kind of Southern Baptist church where the preacher's up there and he's, can I get a witness? And somebody will say, amen, or go sister, or whatever. And somebody will come up to testify. But most of us, when we think of witness, we think of a court of law witness. We think of somebody has to be a witness in a court of law. And in Mosaic times, the times of Moses, when the 10 Commandments were written, a witness that testified in a law, they had to make sure that they knew what they were talking about, because they would have to give out the punishment to whoever was convicted of a crime. So if it was a stoning, the witnesses that testified against them had to do the stoning. And then years later, still in biblical times, if you were found to have falsely given false testimony and you had false witness, then you got the punishment as well as the convicted. So it was really a serious offense to lie, to give false testimony, to bear false witness. And one of the 10 Commandments is, you shall not give false witness against your neighbor. Meaning you should not talk badly about someone, you should not lie about someone, you should not criticize them or judge them or any of those things. It was really a serious offense to bear false witness. Eric Butterworth, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. Book comes from the book of Exodus. Eric Butterworth, was a Unity minister, much beloved Unity minister, and he wrote a book called Breaking the 10 Commandments, meaning that the 10 Commandments are really written as guidelines for us, and a lot of our laws came from the 10 Commandments, and that's fine when we're in a basic kind of consciousness. But as we evolve, we need to evolve the rules too, the commandments, as you will, and instead of them making a what we must do or must not do, make it what we can do to live a more joyful life, to live a more spiritual life. And when we're on the spiritual path, we want to do that. We want to live a bigger, fuller life. So you shall not bear false witness not only can mean don't say anything bad about people, don't say anything bad about yourself, but bearing witness is an accountability. It can be a burden if it's false witness, but it's an accountability. We want to bear witness to the truth. And when we're on the spiritual path, of what we want to do that. We want to live a bigger, fuller life. Bear witness to the truth. And so the truth is that we are these Christ beings. That there is so much more to us than what is on the surface. There's so much more to us than those masks that we all wear. And we want to let people see that part of ourselves. We want to be vulnerable and let our light shine through as the Christ that we are. This isn't always easy to do. Eric Butterworth says this in Breaking the Ten Commandments: to really express your Christ self to your neighbors of the world calls for total commitment. It means revising all your thoughts about yourself and changing your way of thinking, seeing, feeling, speaking, and acting. It means a complete purification of consciousness. Tall order. Not easy to do. And we tend to see only what people show us on the outside instead of looking deeper. I know for myself, I've had someone in my life recently who I've only seen the mask. Kind of ashamed to admit that. I've lost sleep over that. Only seeing the mask instead of looking for the good underneath. And so I took it to my spiritual director on Friday, and she has a brilliant way of asking questions that have me come up with my own answers. And my answers almost always are that it's all about me. It's all about my reactivity. It's all about my not being able to or not looking deep enough at someone. It's all my reactivity to judging and my own inadequacy and feeling like I need to compare. And the truth is, we don't need to compare because we're all unique, beautiful beings. When I'm looking for something and I'm doing research, I kind of tend to go all over the place. And one of the things I ended up on was a workshop by Angeles Arian, who was an anthropologist and award-winning author and did a lot of workshops. And she talked about how unique that we are. There's no reason for us to compare ourselves to anyone because we all have our own unique imprint that we can imprint onto the world. You know, no one has the same fingerprint as us, even twins. No one has the same voice pattern in the whole world that we have. No one has the exact same pigment on our eyelid as anyone else in the whole world. We are all so unique, and we've all come here to share our own unique perspective. And what a shame it is if we don't choose to speak to that truth. If we don't choose to witness to the truth that is in us. If we don't bear witness to that true Christ within us. We're always invited into that. And we don't always do it. And so we're invited in our small groups that start next week with our fall program, where we're all studying the same book, and we have small groups in people's homes. If you haven't signed up yet, there's still spaces left in some of them. Would love to have as much participation. And we're invited in to see in our small groups to behave in that same way, to bear witness to the best in all of us, in each of us. There's a handout that I give to the facilitators the last few times called Being in Circle, the Authentic Self and Witness. And it's a great handout. It's a great article about how we want to be with each other. We're called to witness. We're called to bear that witness and be that witness that we want to just be there for other people. Let's see what they have to say. In the circle process, when people sit and speak from the deepest part of themselves, no matter how wounded, how much anguish, or how many tears they, at that moment, are sitting in their circle of power, they need to be witnessed. That is, to be respected for their willingness to go deep and be so vulnerable. What is required of us as witnesses is to sit in our own circle of power, owning our own pain and fear, fully being with those feelings and not projecting them outward. They go on to say how we shouldn't interrupt or judge or even hand someone a tissue or rub their arm if they're crying. Just let the process happen in our groups. My vision for this fall program is that we raise the level of consciousness here in our community, that we bless each other. We're using the book, The Gentle Art of Blessing. And that we get to that place of blessing each other so fully and so deeply that we only see the good. It's a tall order. But what a difference it could make in our community if we were to bear witness to the truth of who we are instead of bearing false witness. What a difference it could make in our community. I did another little Google search and, wiki how-tos. How to be a witness. I thought, let's see what it says about how to be a witness. Well, it talks about how to be a witness in court, but it's very similar to how to be a witness in our small groups. There are 4 things. First is prepare for court. Prepare for your small groups. Do your homework. Do your reading. Answer the questions. We'll have study guides next week. Be ready to discuss it. Prepare. The second is prepare to appear, meaning know where you're going and get there on time and be alert and awake and in good cheer when you get there. Nobody's there there's no jury or judge. It's all to connect. And the third item is to actually testify. And what do you do when you testify? You're asked to tell the truth, right? Tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So tell the truth, stay awake, stay alert, answer only the question that is asked. That is so challenging for so many people in small group. No extra stories, just answer the question. Stay calm, have fun. You're there to testify to what's true for you. And the fourth was cross-examination. Now, hopefully, we have no cross-examination in our small groups. There's no reason for that. We're there to test. We're there to witness for each other without judgment, to let people be seen and be heard. This is what we're there for, to let go of those masks. Another one of my squirrel moments in doing my research was I ended up on a video. I was looking for a video for today, and I didn't find one, but I ended up on a video on YouTube from 1963 on a show called To Tell the Truth. Anybody remember that show? Yeah, it ran from 1956 to 1968, and I thought, I think I did see one of these live. I was hoping I could say I just a rerun, but no. So the premise, if you've never heard of it, is that there's 4 panels, a 4 panel of celebrities, and they get to ask the questions of 3 people, all claiming to be the same person. My name is, and so this one from 1963, the 3 men came out, and they all claimed to be Pavel Montag. And Pavel Montag was a communist spy, Polish. He was Polish. And in 1958, I believe, he defected to America, went to the American embassy in Vienna and asked for asylum. And so they were all wearing masks because he's wanted in Poland for treason. And so they ask all these questions of these 3 people. And the premise is the person who is really Pavel could only tell the truth, and the other 2 could lie. And the 4 panelists have to decide who is the real Pavel Montag. And it was just so interesting to watch it because, brought back memories of being a very, very, very young child when I watched it before. And but it was funny because all 4 contestants said number 3 was it. Number 3 is the guy, and it wasn't the guy. They all were wrong. But he ended up being a radio personality who they all knew, Henry somebody. Anyway, but what it brought to mind was the mask that we wear. The fear that we have of taking off the mask. Pavel, the real Pavel, number 1, did not take off his mask. The other 2 did. But the mask that we wear, that we want to hide this true self of who we are. We're bearing false witness to who we are when we're not showing our true self, our true authentic self. There's so much more to us than the masks. So much more. I have copies of that handout called Being in Circle, the authentic self and the witness in the back. You can pick one up if you want. This is how I envision us being with each other during our small group time. Being there. Being that witness. Because, life mirrors back to us. In that same workshop from Angela's Arian that I saw, she talked about in a circle, when we're in a circle, and we're holding hands in a circle. And the person directly across from you mirrors to you where you are in life right now. And the person to your left mirrors to you where your heart is. And the person to your right mirrors to you where your power is. And the truth is, it doesn't really matter who is in any 3 of those positions. Because the people in our lives are always mirroring back to us where we are in consciousness. Where we are. So we don't want to bear false witness about where we are, or who we are, or what we are. We want to bear witness to the truth of what we are. Can I get a witness? Amen. Amen. Yeah, I forgot this was going to be an interactive service, and I totally forgot to use that phrase. I love that. Oh, well. Some other time we'll have an interactive kind of service. This, guess, wasn't it. I can only do what Spirit's, saying through me in the moment, since there's no notes. Amen. Thank you. Yeah. Eric Butterworth says in Breaking the 10 Commandments, the world today desperately needs people who will make the commitment to bear witness to the truth. People who will make a special effort to be true to their God self within. Amen. Amen. Can you see the true self within you? Can you see the beautiful true self in you? I get to bear witness to it every time I'm up here. And feel the love and the connection that's here in this room. It's a beautiful thing to witness. Are you willing to witness for yourselves and for everyone else? Because when we can see it in ourselves, we can't help but share it and spread it. And that's what we're here for. That's what we're called to do here. Can I get a witness? Amen. Yeah. Namaste. Peace be with you.